Hello, everybody. I've been reading a number of your drafts, and some of them, well, all of them, have been very good to date. I don't know why I said some, because they all are very good. However, I've only seen about half of them, and so I'm really just making this quick video so that I can bring together some ideas. One of the main questions that people are asking is, with 4,000 words, how am I going to answer all of those questions or cover all of those topics? So, for example, it says questions you might like to consider include strategy, HR strategy, culture, approaches to people management, performance measurement, performance and organizational design and development, double loop learning, and so it goes on and on and on. Added to that, we also talk about the academic underpinning, for example, vertical and horizontal alignment. It's really not possible in 4,000 words to cover all of that. For example, organisational development alone, if you were studying for a CIPD, the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development qualification, you would be spending 300 hours just studying that one topic and undertaking a similar sized assignment just on the one topic. What I'd like to say is it's not necessary, nor is it possible, or even desirable for you to cover all of those topics. But one of the things that I think you will all see is that there is an interrelationship. So, for example, if you're talking about recruitment, you cannot divorce recruitment from reward and recognition. Unless you have a good reward and recognition strategy, then it's virtually impossible to be able to offer people a package. You can't say, come and work for us, and then people say, well, what are you going to pay us? And what are the benefits? It's just not possible. And equally, we also know that we've got a number of people within the workplace. We've got people aged from 16 right through to maybe 70, now that we no longer have a default retirement age. And so one size doesn't fit all. And many of you have already noted that. For those of you that are setting out on the assignment, however, you might be wondering, well, I'm not an HR specialist. No, and neither will many of you be that. However, if you're not an HR specialist, you can answer this from your perception, either as a line manager working with your students, members of staff rather, or as a member of staff yourself. How do you feel about your organisation? Do you feel there's a cohesive strategy for recruitment, selection? And that's out with what's written in any staff handbook, what's written in any strategy document. If we're writing an assignment now, unlike in the 1980s, for example, everything's on your intranet. So the transparency is even greater. And so you have a greater access to primary research. And it might even be a good opportunity for you to really find out what the performance management strategy really is, not just know what the disciplinary and grievance strategy might be. For grievance and disciplinary, for example, are not the only performance management tool. So if we go through all of these, you'll be looking at the external context. Are you in a tight or loose labour market? And that has a real bearing on your reward strategy. If you're in a tight labour market, then your reward strategy has to be even more in tune with what your competitors are doing. If, however, you're in a loose labour market, then you don't necessarily have to be so in tune, and you may even decide that you want to pay the market rate, or even pay the living wage. In other organisations, you might say, well, it doesn't really matter. We always pay everybody above the living wage. However, what I would say to you is, what about your facilities? What about your car park attendants? What about the people that look after your reception? Cleaners, for example. Are they subcontracted out? And did you subcontract them out because, in fact, it was cheaper to do so? Will they be able to do it so cheaply now that we've had an increase yet again on the working wage, as well as increased contributions to pensions? It all is circles within circles. It's not just a matter now of offering people a job, paying them a good good or reasonable rate and then expecting people to stay with you. People do move on. People can see what other people are being paid. People are more mobile. People are able to travel distances, and people are even willing to work away from home, albeit not ideal. There are many examples of that. So you'll look at the strategic approaches and the academic underpinning, and you may be a bit concerned about the Harvard or Michigan models. And although I would say, yes, it's important that you do understand them, if you're finding that difficult, then have a word with me, or focus in on the areas where you do have more understanding. So, for example, human capital, and also talent management. What is talent in your organization? Who is seen as talent in your organization? Is it everybody or just the chosen few? And as you move on, you can then start to look at performance management. Is it about making people even better, or is it just about performance managing people out of the organization? And if so, what can be done about that? And what is the performance management system and the more contemporary approaches to performance management? And as we move on through performance management and retention, we start to look at that really key topic of employee engagement. At a time when we know that most organisations are finding a skills shortage and a skills gap, then engaging with those that have the skills becomes even more important. So there we have a link again with performance management, talent management, and engagement, just as with reward, recognition, and retention, and also the recruitment thereof. And if we go on then and think about organisational design and development, now ODD is a large topic, but as it says in the module, it's about having the right people in the right structures at the right time to meet organisational needs. And perhaps it's most important now to mention yet again that HR does not operate within a silo. HR has to make sense and also add value to a business. If it doesn't add value, then why have it? You might as well outsource it and let someone else do it. It has to be adding value to the business and enabling the business to reach its targets. So, choose 3 or 4 of those topics and bring them together. They will be woven together. And yes, that's what HR is all about. You can't have recruitment without a retention strategy. You can't have a pay and reward strategy that is in no way linked to the organisation's bottom line. So please do get in touch with me, and I look forward to reading your assignments.